we out here just like you get points for running people over type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like it's a global phenomenon, and I'm excited to. I just want to get my hands on the actual game, bro. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dope.
Let's pivot. Let's get into today's topic on the docket. You want to introduce it, man?
Yes, sir. The main topic is, which is a great question. It's real. It does hit close to home. Would you still make music if you weren't being paid?
Mm-hmm.
That is a great question, especially as a full-time artist. I think we're in a unique position to where there are moments where, I mean, to sustain it, there are some things that you do out of necessity and duty, more so than just out of straight, creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
I do wonder. And I have some questions listed out here that we can tackle that would move the needle.
Okay.
One of the first questions is, what did music give you before it could give you money?
I think music made me feel early on like seen and accepted.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking as my earliest, because I started music because of my oldest brother. He had a rap group, and I was just trying to be like him. And I think it just made me feel like, even in the eyes of my brother, like I'm doing something that he's kind of doing, and this is what is cool. And and then after a while, it kind of evolved into my own thing. But I was always a creative kid, so it was just another thing for me to, explore creatively. So I think that's what it gave me early on. What about you?
No, it's so crazy, bro. It's gonna sound like the same story, but it definitely made you feel like. It made me feel like I had a voice. There was an aspect, and I still feel like it to this day sometimes, outside of the pod. If I wanted somebody to listen to what I had to say, I had to be rapping or singing. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had to a viewpoint on a topic, that's how I would get it out. Yeah. But it all started because my older brother was in a rap group called the Young Riders. Which is so crazy. They was called the Young Riders. Yeah. In middle school.
My brother's his rap group was called E Nation, which stood for Equilibrium Nation.
That's crazy. They was they conscious rappers?
There was on some lyrical miracle, right?
Some lyrical miracle, spiritual stuff. Yeah, bro. And I'll never forget, man. One time, now mind you, I've had like music. My dad growing up was a musician. So they had let me rap on one of their records, and I'm way younger than them. I'm probably like 3 grades behind them.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, this is fire." So I kept rapping songs with them moving forward, and I was probably like 13 at the time, maybe 12.
Yeah.
And from there, it kind of just evolved.
Yeah.
Into what it was now. Now, mind you, definitely was not doing it for money then. There's a social aspect of it that it became.
Yeah.
Like with them specifically, like they are all rappers, so to be cool amongst them, you got to be a good rapper. You know what I'm saying? So you study the art from there, just to be cool and have that. And then that evolved into my circles, also being other musicians.
Yeah, I think it's a big community. Well, even before I go there, I think just hip hop in general, it kind of like helps idealize, like, I'm not idealize, but it just paints this image of what you could be. You know what I mean? It's like you're larger than life. You got all of the, all eyes on you. It gives you. It allows you to extrovert like introverted thoughts in in a format that's a little bit more acceptable and probably ways you wouldn't say in normal conversation. You know what I mean? It you can garner attention and respect and notoriety, all this kind of stuff from it. So it's just the celebrities are always what we aspire towards. It's like they have the
Right.
value. They're
They
who
have the
you
life that you want to live. Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. So hip hop
You know,
does that.
it does. And I do think in terms of like why, at least for me when I was making the music, the social aspect, the community aspect of it, I do think that in this space it is a unique moment when you do find a community of like-minded people on this side of the music industry and making music in this way. When you're like a regular artist, you can go to a open mic. Not, I wouldn't even. I hate saying a regular artist, but I hope y'all know what I mean. Like the traditional route of being an artist outside of sync. So this can apply to anyone. But in my space currently, like finding other people who may be, sync focused, that is a unique community, and it
Yeah.
is dope to see now where more people are in it. We got communities like Rep.Indie. We have we have not
Clinks?
conventions, a
Oh,
lot of events
conferences.
and stuff, conferences. We have a lot of
Yeah.
conferences and stuff around it. So the community around it is building, and it is dope to see. I am getting that feeling again where it's like, all right, cool. It's like this community that you want to be around, which was the initial reason why I made music, was that part of that community.
Yeah.
So that was,
This
yeah.
is gonna be a bit of a sad turn, but I was talking literally probably like an hour or two ago to you know, one of my homies who I've known for years, like since I moved down here to Florida. Actually, before I moved down here to Florida, it's like '06, '07 or something like that. We connected on
Yeah.
MySpace. But anyway, I was chatting with him, and we were um, just having a conversation because we just found out literally like I found out yesterday that one of my like the first friend that I made down here when I joined, excuse me, when I moved to Florida, she just passed away like very unexpectedly, and it was really sad because she's pregnant, like they were expecting and all this other kind of stuff, and so super super sad. But we were talking about it earlier and just kind of reminiscing on the scene that we had around her because she was a musician as well, and now she gets to sing in the ultimate choir above. But
Yeah. Yeah.
she was deep lover of music, and there was a lot of events that would go on in the Central Florida area at the time, like 2012s, that whole 20 teens kind of era,
Yeah.
and it just felt like there was always something going on. There was always a way to, tap into an event or a show or open mic or something. And through that, I mean, even that, like how we ended up getting connected as well, you and I, like we just had a really unique, I think, space and community, even across city
Yeah.
lines. But it's all central around music, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, music and faith, but music kind of,
Yeah.
also gave us a way to
Yeah.
bond and connect.
Yeah. And I think that is the real. It's just to answer the whole question. Um, that is what that feeling is, what as a musician, that you want to continue to cultivate, and it is why you would create music, without getting paid. I think, like, if you were like, hey, let's all get together, we're gonna have a camp, let's make songs together, I mean, just that camaraderie and being around those people would be the reason why you would go and do something for free. Now I
Yeah.
think this, to segue into it, did getting paid from our music make us love music more, or did we find ourselves loving it a little less? I know we talked about like the anxiety of making this your full-time, your gig, or relying on the monetary side of it can add anxiety, because it's like these projects have deadlines and you got people that, got to be satisfied with your output. Um, did getting paid make you love music more and love it less?
And I'll add to that too. To the question, like, does not only getting paid, but also does the requirement seemingly of how to grow and sustain a music career change your relationship and interest to how you make music, or just just making music in general? You know what I mean? Like, does it kind of? Because I've heard stories like that where artists who super passionate about the art, the craft, realizing what it takes to build, like something substantial and noteworthy, and it just kind of discourages them from even doing it all together. It's just like, man, because
100%.
I know homies um who again their journey went went a different direction than mine's, but I know they're not doing music anymore, even though I know it's still in them. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still that itch there, but I don't know. It'd be a good question for them. Like, what is their relationship with music now? Like, has what it took to kind of make it pop off
Yeah.
just kind of discourage them from making music
Yeah.
anymore, or was there other things, just life evolving? Honestly, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think if they're being 100% honest with themselves, like a lot of times when we do see people who have that strong desire um, to do music, I do think the surrounding aspects of it does make you love it less, and it causes you to pivot out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I do think this is a great opportunity in terms of having the conversation of what that balance would actually look like for somebody that might be on the outside listening, that has always wanted to, but you hated the process so much that it made you leave music. Because we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen that more often than I've seen the other side, where people just give up because they don't like the process of it. And seeing an independent artist, what would I tell them? I would tell them that ultimately, if your love for making music doesn't cause you to put yourself into some uncomfortable situations, then you have to ask yourself, how much do you actually love it? You know?
Hmm.
Um, and in regards to getting paid, I love making music so much that if I have to rap about these sync topics to make my family also be taken care of, and I get to do music at the end of the day, I think that that's a win. So for me, it would make me love it more,
Yeah.
even if I'm not making what I want to make.
Yeah. Like, I think if I were to answer the question, does, you know, like, once I started making money with my music, did that change my relationship with, you know, the love of making music, just, for the love of it, like, how it was before I started to monetize. And yeah, I mean, I kind of feel, I do feel like it's made me enjoy what I do way more. Like, getting a
Mm.
paycheck, for my art feels good, and it makes me want to keep making music. But also, I mean, but the other question is, what if I wasn't getting paid? Would I still make music? That's a really good question, to be honest, because
Yeah.
it's almost similar to, and I almost, a part of me almost feels like it would be no, or at least
Mm.
not at any real significant quality or quantity,
Yeah.
mainly because, or at least not as a prioritized, pursuit. And it's
Mm.
because of, I'm doing this off of data, because I used to do design and branding and all that other kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and stopped doing that for music because, one, I had to, I gave myself the permission to choose, but also I wasn't really making as much as I would have liked to on the design side or on the music
Mm.
side. I just chose one, and music ended up winning out. but I don't do design. Like I haven't done design in like years for fun. You know what I mean? This is actually the first season of my life where I feel like I'm back in that bag, but it's even still hard to say that because this is still business attached to it because I'm designing my artwork for
Sure,
my
right,
album and stuff.
right.
So
Yeah.
even still, I guess the answer probably would still be no. Um, I think because I don't know what it would look like if I just would like I feel like I would need to do something creative. So that's probably a better answer to it because if it wasn't music, if it wasn't design, I'd probably be doing something creative.
Creative.
Yeah, it just may not be those two things because I'm just a multi hyphenate, you know what I mean? But I may dabble in some of those, every now and then,
Right.
but also it's hard for me to see myself outside of the creative industry. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Altogether.
yeah. So
Like I ain't about to go work at a bank. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yeah, nah.
nah, I'm not. I mean, and no, just because my parents, I guess, did a good job of making me feel like it was okay to pursue that, and I'm
Love
also
that.
very aligned with how I'm wired and what my gifts are and what I think my purpose is. And a part of that is creating, you know what I mean? And so I would probably always find myself there. I would probably have to just be a different person, at the end of the day, if I didn't end up doing something art related for, even if it's just, you know, I'm in the industry, maybe I'm not like creating, maybe I'm just on the
Yeah.
executive or administrative side or something like that, but I'm still in the
Yeah.
creative industry. You feel me?
Yeah. I think what you just said is the beautiful side of it. And a practical takeaway for our listeners, if you're listening, like knowing who you are, what you just said, like you clearly know who you are, you know what your purpose is and what you would enjoy. And that is the driving force for why you do what you do, which is fire.
Yeah.
And I think the same for me. Like I can't see myself doing anything outside of this or outside of the scope because I do love it that much, and finding the purpose in it is the beautiful side of like why we do what we do. And I do think no matter how you swing it, money is attached to that. Like I don't know. It's if you chase something else creatively in the business of just creating art.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the quote where they say chase what you love and the don't chase money, but chase what you love and then money will follow. It's real.
Yeah.
And I think when you just have your mindset on your purpose, and you chase after that, the money does come. So it is a nuanced question to ask both of us. Like, would I do this for no money? I mean, it's hard to say that because no matter how I pivot, if I chase the creativity and express that with the world, most of the time there's a company, an opportunity, a person that's going to come back with some monetary value from that.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to say. Well, no, I could say if I can agree with you. If there was no money attached to it, I would initially say no.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that I would then still find myself doing something creatively, even though I say no to that.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about it now. Like some of my homies who I know, like they work, like some of them actually do work at a bank. You know what I mean? Like, or they're doing
Really?
finance or doing
Okay.
something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know some folks
Yeah.
who
Yeah. Yeah.
gone into that,
I
and
wasn't
they
taking a
were
shot at y'all. If
nah,
you work
nah,
at a bank,
nah.
it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like context.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we
Yeah.
probably need to link up with y'all more than anything because a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
indies need some funding anyway. But
Facts.
yeah, it's just thinking about like what would life look like if art wasn't as central as it is to my vocation. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it reminds me a little bit of, I don't know if I've talked about it on a past episode, but a book I read years ago called Big Magic is by the same lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. There was a story about a figure skater who was, she had ambitions to be like number one, like the greatest, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't a fanciful kind of dream. Like she put in a lot of work. She had been training since a young age. Like she had checked all of the boxes seemingly to be positioned to like exceed in her, in that career path. And for whatever reason, like she just couldn't get beyond a certain ceiling of, I'm AAU, but I'm not NBA. You know what I mean? Or I'm
Right.
overseas international hooping, but I ain't never make it to the majors type stuff. You know what I mean? It's like she was noteworthy and to a certain extent, but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying. So she ended
Yeah.
up just like hanging it all up. You know what I mean? She hung it all up, but over the years, she started to really feel like there was just this gap. You know what I mean? This void kind of there, and she didn't have the type of fulfillment that she, I guess, once did or just was longing for. She couldn't figure it out until, and this is kind of the point of this whole story that the author was bringing out, was that sometimes we put too much pressure on our gifts to actually monetize for us, that we end up removing ourselves for the reason that the gifts were given to us. You know what I mean? So I believe like our
That's
gifts
big.
are just that, they're gifts. You know what I mean? And so I think they're for us first, and then for the world, and we learn and grow through our gifts. And so that's why, like, she ended up the moral of the story, the wrapping up, the conclusion, everything. Like, she ended up like getting her ice skates back, like just doing it for the love of it, and she just kind of found, I guess, whatever she was looking for through that. But it always stood out to me because I'm thankful that I've been able to find a way to, through education, through training, through mentors,
Yeah.
through God, like all of the things that came together to help me to come to a place where I can feed my family off of my art. Like, I'm very thankful for it. And I know that's not the case for everybody. And we created this
Yeah.
podcast to help, bridge that gap so that it become more of a success story for more artists,
Yeah.
because it's possible. And I think, and that's the side of me where I just believe like kind of anything is possible. I just have that,
Yeah. Agreed.
delusion at times, which
Yeah.
you need it to actually
You
get
got
to
you got to
those.
be you got to be a little delusional.
Yeah, man. But I'm but it is that other side of it where even if for some reason it's just not in the cards, life just doesn't pan out, in that kind of way for whatever reason. It goes back to this question, like, would you still give yourself the permission to enjoy your gifts even if it's not monetizing?
Which is
So
the story. That story, like, I want to. What's the name of that book? I want to highlight
Big
that book. What's the
Magic.
name of that? Big
Big
Magic.
Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that every artist can resonate with that, and everyone is. There's going to be a moment. It's just a part of the beast of life where you're like, dang, like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And I think that leads into the next like question that I had is because outside of the money, a lot of times what other people, especially in a social media age, what we are chasing is like validation, the validation trap.
Mm,
And it's like, okay, well, yeah, I said I'll do it if it doesn't, make money. But are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for the idea that you can become famous? Or is there another, metric that you add into it?
yeah.
And the question, and just hearing that and finding fulfillment with yourself, a lot of times when you chase any of those other validation traps, that's exactly what they are. They will let you down so quick. And that's why there's a part of me that wants to be honest, where it's like money can't be the driving force for why, you're being a creative only, because there's months where you make nothing, you
Yeah.
know? And then you have to ask yourself, like, why are you continuing to do it? So
Yeah.
just he's hearing that story of where she quit thinking that was the answer. And then what made her feel fulfilled was picking it back up, is an encouragement to every artist that is listening. Like,
Yeah.
don't let go of that. Be delusional. It's okay.
Do you,
Go
do
ahead.
you, it's so tough. This is one thing I probably, I don't say wrestle with, but it maybe wrestle is the right word. At times, if ever I'm thinking about this, it's like, is it just in the cards for some people to just never make it full time, with their music, you know what I mean? Or, with whatever that dream is. Cause it's just like some people, and I guess this is where it kind of gets a little esoteric or whatever. Cause, God
Yeah.
has I believe God has a
Plan.
plan for everybody. And the caveat is like, sometimes we don't know what that plan is ultimately, like what and where we'll end up. And we will try to force a certain, outcome in our
Yeah.
lives that may not actually be what's been planned for us, and that maybe even is
For
the most
us.
fulfilling for us. And that's our thing to wrestle with as well, with our, especially being American, and because it's very much like all things are, and even biblically, like all things are possible, but you got to contextualize that. But also, I think
For sure.
culturally, there's just this belief that if you got enough hard work, enough grit, enough persistence, consistency, like you can pretty much achieve anything and become anything. And there's a part of me that believes that, but there's also the other side of that is like, well, what if somebody's just, climbing really, really deliberately, really fast, um, up the right ladder on the wrong building. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And here's the I guess redeemable side. Like, we just don't know, so it's all by faith. So I think
right.
we know in part, you know what I mean? So don't, it's one of those things like, we don't have to, worry ourselves into an answer to this. It's just like,
Yeah.
explore, experiment, you'll see. And I think coming at life with an open hand is the best policy. But I do know that could be a bit of a sting for some people on the surface
Yeah.
until they find that thing maybe that they're really meant
That
for.
they're really
But
good at. Yeah, no, and to answer your question, like, it sucks to say it. And I'll be the one to say it. It does suck to say it. Not everybody's gonna make it, and not everybody is going to be able to do it. Um, and that's just the way life works. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's everyone has a calling and a purpose, 100%. But I will say this, and there's a lot of quote, and I live by these quotes in the back of my head a lot of times. If you believe that you can't do it, you're probably right. And there
mm-hmm.
are going to be people who believe that they can't do it, and those are the people that are not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the people in that category from that sting of not everybody's going to make it. It's the people that didn't believe. I genuinely do believe, to some sort of degree, if you believe you can do it and you apply that mindset and that drive, that you will see some form of success. It may not look like, you might not be Drake, all right, but you will see some form of success within it, because I do believe that when you believe that you could do something, you put the time in, that's the only thing that can come out on the other side of consistency
Yeah.
oftentimes. If I
Yeah.
if I eat in a calorie deficit, everything else is right, and I go to the gym and I do my workouts and I don't see the mirror changing, but I stay consistent.
Yeah.
Over time, you will see a change. You will see success. Am I gonna be The Rock? Probably, maybe not, but you will see success. And then that's in anything. So I can't logically say that won't be
Which,
the case here.
which is why I like kind of what we're doing with the podcast, because my hope is that people can find a version of success that fits them, and it doesn't,
Yes.
because I feel like it's the 1% of folk that we end up aspiring towards. So I think it's, when we look at the Drakes and the Kendricks and the Kanyes and the Jays and the Nickies and all this other kind of stuff, is like they are the 1% of success within music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's other tiers that are, available and could
Yeah.
be even probably a bit less stressful and even more
Yeah.
profitable, or and maybe not more profitable, but just the type of profit you need for your household, your family.
Facts. Yeah.
And for me, that's worth more, because I don't necessarily have like aspirations to be like a Lecrae level or a Drake level or whatever. Like, my thing is always, I want to maximize my potential. Like, I don't want to leave
Yeah.
this earth without like giving my best and pursuing the version of greatness that is in alignment with what I've been given in my assignment and stuff like that. I don't want to put somebody else, because I also kind of look at people's if you want to say destinies or whatever it is, kind of like plants in a sense, where I'm like looking outside of my windows and stuff like that, and there's all different varieties of like trees. Like I got a bamboo tree over here. I got this other tree that annoys me because it sheds all the time and it puts these random little seeds all over our driveway. I hate it. And then we got another one that's in the front that's like huge, you know what I mean? And so these are all different sizes. They grow in different climates. They grow at different rates. They produce different types of outcomes, aka fruit, you know what I mean? And so it's like, if maybe you start looking at people in a similar fashion, where it's just like, maybe you are a bamboo tree, and bamboo trees historically can only grow to a certain size, length, width, whatever. And you have to stop trying to be an oak tree when that's just not how you were built. You know what I mean? And the sooner you come to that realization, you're going to thrive and be the healthiest bamboo tree that we've ever seen. And you're going to enjoy it, because bamboo trees like certain things that bamboo trees like they need a certain type of light, you know what I mean? They need a certain type of food, soil, and all this other kind of stuff. And you keep trying to, feed yourself stuff for an oak tree.
I love that analogy. It's a fire analogy.
You're not an oak tree, you know what I mean? And so, and also too, I think a lot of this is, I'm speaking to myself, where you can root yourself in a lot of comparison and envy and jealousy and unknowingly, where you feel like I'm supposed to look like that. You know what I mean? It's like my career is supposed to be like this, and it's just like, bro, you are perfectly, fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, you were crafted in such a way that's on purpose, intentional, and for you, and it's going to make you feel as fulfilled as you need to be fulfilled. You know what I mean? Man. It's like, imagine trying to feed, a fish dog food. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, it's not going to enjoy it. Yeah, it's just not going to, it's not even that it's not for it. It's just not going to enjoy it, because it's not the type of food for you. You know what I mean? So I think the quicker we come to reality or that realization,
that's huge, actually,
the better off we'll be. But the other side to that is just like, sometimes we don't know the type of tree we actually are, because we, again, can play ourselves small, and when we're actually an oak tree, and vice versa. But I still think it goes to the bigger point of like, you gotta find alignment with who you are. Spend some time with yourself, spend some time with the people close to you, spend some time with your thoughts, spend some time with God, to be able to bring revelation of like, this is what I care about. This is what doesn't seem to go away. You know what I mean? And my considerations about my career, my life, like all that kind of stuff. This is what I keep hearing, from people about me, you know what I mean? Consistently. Like, those are all context clues for potentially
what you
could be, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, dream is big, swing for the fences. But like, being who you were meant to be at the end of the day. So
it's huge. I feel like that analogy is going to stick with me. Because even just the concept of it, like, people don't know how, like, in height and exposure, a bamboo tree is not as high as a oak tree. But bamboo also has some of the strongest contents, and
very
it might
durable.
not be flash. It's very durable. It might not be as flashy, but when bamboo is needed, you can't go and grab an oak tree. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to the bamboo and use its strength.
Yeah.
So just that analogy is a beautiful analogy. Clap it up for that. That needs to be on a t-shirt. Because if we were to take away the money from this, and even why we have a passion to do the podcast is because to be a creative and get asked the question, would you do this for money or not? These are the things that, we would want people to grow and take away with. These are free things that we're encouraging you with, so that way you can see a sustainable career and push yourself and, encourage yourself to move forward. So even that just encouraged me a lot. And I'm going to hold on to that. Be the bamboo tree. Which is dope.
Let's go.
That's tough. I like that.